Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Jennifer. In today's video, I'm going to be unboxing, assembling, and testing out this four-wheel electric mobility scooter. This isn't something I typically feature on my channel, but I got it for a brand partnership on Instagram and thought it was one of those kinds of products that can be really helpful for a lot of different people. So I'm going to start off by taking all of the pieces out of the box. I'll show you how to assemble it, I'll demonstrate it, and then I'll tell you all of the key features you need to know. So if that interests you, stay with me and I'll tell you all about it. Typically, I start off with the product on my workbench, but this is really heavy. I know that assembled, it weighs over 100 pounds. So I'm going to probably put this together on the floor. Ugh. Ugh. All right. There's a box that has what looks to be some type of an adapter that probably goes with the charger. Okay, here's the manual in the box. The manufacturer is SKRT, SKRT. The warranty information here is on the back. You can scan that. The model is R100-R, and it came in other colors. I chose the red. And they have like customer support and all of that information on the back. Of course, read over the manual because I don't go over absolutely everything. It would be impossible to. Their directions actually look pretty decent. Okay, so let's get all the pieces out. Oh, all right, there were pieces in here I didn't know. I pulled it out and they went flying. It comes with a phone holder. That's cool. Huh. What I liked about this product also online, it showed it in different scenarios with a cup holder, taking it indoors, outdoors, over like small inclines, and it had really good reviews. All right, there's this piece part. This is attached to that. There's the seat. Looks really well made, I have to say. Here's a random knob just kind of floating. So there's the steering column. I think since I'm working alone, the best bet for me is going to be to cut it out of here. I don't want to dump it and like break anything. Whew. Oh yeah, okay. Oh my gosh. Oof. All right, there's extra stuff on the bottom here. Okay, so here are the main pieces out of the box. I do want to point out this was in the bottom, so make sure that you don't lose this pin. It was just kind of floating. And the battery looks like there's actually like two of them. All right, so here's the information about the battery. 24 volt, 12 amp hour, charging voltage 28.8 volts, okay? This part here got a little chewed up during shipping, but overall it doesn't look like it's going to hurt that. Here's over on this side is, oh, okay, there's where that adapter plugs in. It kind of looks like an internet cable that will go in there, and that's a circuit breaker press to reset. So that is there underneath that flap. So you know what, I think I'm going to charge this while I'm putting it together. Here's a charger, it just connects. It's hard to kind of do with one hand, and it just looks like it pushes in there. Then that part just goes onto that, and then this plugs into the wall, and it looks like it is a 2-prong plug. I do like that it has a handle. Now this sucker is pretty heavy. I'm guessing that will turn green when it's fully charged, and I think I saw it in the stats how long this takes to charge, so I'm gonna look that up. All right, so here is everything else out on the ground. Okay, this part obviously goes onto here, and this is the part we're going to be attaching first, and you can adjust it so that the angle is convenient for you. I would suggest having a knife and a pair of scissors. There are zip ties on here. The one I just cut off with a knife wasn't in an area that was detrimental, but then this is very close. I don't want to use a knife and accidentally cut into the product. So I would have both and just be really careful. Okay. More zip ties. Zip ties, zip ties. These at least will come off. All right, that came off. It has key, and it looks like maybe you get two of them. I don't know if you lose those, if you can get backups online, probably. They kind of look like they're universal. All right, so I'm going to take this off and make sure I don't lose that. All right, after some searching, I found this piece that was in with like the cup holder. Okay, it has like a hex nut on that with like an acorn top, and I knew this had to be it because of the corresponding area. So this is going to go in here. So you can angle this to whatever is comfortable for you. For right now, I'm just going to put it right there. And then you just tighten it, and then it's very easy. If you want to change that, you just loosen it. Okay. All right, so I'm going to hand tighten this. All right, so that's all there is to that. Okay, even though the battery isn't fully charged yet, for assembly purposes, it says to go ahead and load the battery onto that tray. And it looks like, see these ports here? This is obviously to stabilize this battery, but right now it's in the way. Make sure that those connect. Without smashing your hands. Okay, and so then there's this piece that you just tighten to keep that in place. And then I see like drive neutral here on the back. It ain't going nowhere. Okay, so next. I feel like that. There we go. All right, so that clicked into place. I kind of dropped that on there. It looks like this mechanism has springs. You can do that. This is obviously the tube where the supports for your arms are going to go in. This cotter pin is going to go through here. It just has that little part on there that's going to keep it in place. It recesses, so you can adjust the height that way. This obviously goes on like that. This little cotter pin goes through, and there are how many choices? There are there's 4 different heights to choose from. Okay, so that goes like that, and then this knob goes right here. You want to swivel, that's what this is for. You can swivel and get out, or swivel back and lock it in place. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the armrests on. Please ignore the disaster in my shop right now. It goes through periods of being really neat, really messy. It's going to be really neat again very soon, but I need to take everything off and put it on a table and like organize. So these just pivot, and obviously that goes like that. Okay, so just slide that into that. And again, this can be adjusted. If you were a little bit bigger person, you could have them out further. That looks about natural to me. And then there are knobs on the back, and then you just tighten them. Okay. And that's nice. When you go to get up, you just push that up, come on out. This is very nice. I have to say, this is very nice. And for the price, it runs around $350, $370-ish range. I have to say, this is very nice. Here's the key. They thought of just about everything. This looks like a cup holder, and then here's your phone holder, and I think this goes with that. So that obviously goes onto that and tightens. There's also this little basket, which looks like it just kind of flips up, and then there's like little, you just snap it into place. I like that. Cute. Okay. So you need to go grocery shopping or something. I think you can take this off. That's really cute. You could like take this off, go into a market, come back out, attach that, and wheel away. I could see this in like a retirement community. You'd be like the coolest cat on the block. All right, so you'll see the one side has these metal bracket pieces, which would just slide on. That's cute. Slide on like that, push down. Oh my gosh, is that cute? And it looks like there are like headlights and there's tail lights. All right, so here's just a rundown of the control panel. All you do to turn it on or off is insert the key. It's going to give you a little reading of how much battery life you have left. And then here's the tortoise and the hare. So obviously if you go all the way to slow, it's going to go slow. If you go fast, fast. This is forward, this is backwards. Here's the horn. Okay, and then here are your lights. You turn them on and off. And then when you go to back up, these brake lights automatically come on. I do believe the phone holder goes here because it doesn't really make sense anywhere else. Your bottle holder is here, your little basket. I'm gonna start off first going slow, okay? And then your feet rest is right there. I don't know how this would be for somebody who's super tall. That would be my reservation. I'm only 5'3", and this is perfect for me. Although I suppose you can adjust it accordingly. Okay, so let's start off taking a little ride going slow. Okay, so that's pretty darn slow. All right, and I'm gonna turn it up to fast. It does move out pretty quick. But if I don't want to, say I want to slow down, I'm going up to get my mail. Actually, let's go get my mail. Let me see how it does on rocks. Okay, so if you let off the throttle, it does slow down. All right, so let's go over here. And I can see, okay, whoa. Oh. All right, so it is handling the rocks, but it's a pretty damn bumpy ride. All right, so they just put chip and seal on my road. It does go across. I don't know that I would suggest. I mean, it wasn't a very fun ride, but I have this loose gravel here. You can do it. It's just proceed with caution. You don't want to beat up your new scooter. All right, so here's an incline. Handling that pretty well. I mean, this thing is very helpful, I would think, for people that live like in a retirement community. All right, so I'm gonna drive it around on my pavement here in my driveway, and I'm going to tell you some more stats that I did not cover. The range for this scooter is around 10 miles, and it takes about 6 to 7 hours to fully charge the battery. The top speed is 4.5 miles per hour, and the max incline is 9 degrees. It weighs 106 pounds and can support a person up to 300 pounds. It measures 39 inches long, 20 inches wide, and 31 inches high. You can adjust the handlebars to lay the unit flat and remove the seat for storage or transportation. It comes with a 90-day warranty, and if you need additional parts or another key, for instance, contact the company. I will leave their information in the description for your convenience. So overall, I think this is a great product. The one bit of caution I would tell you, when you go around corners, you would want to slow down just a little bit, because I could see somebody that maybe hasn't driven a car in a while and isn't quite up to par with their motor skills, maybe might have trouble with that. Other than that one little warning, I would say this is a great tool, especially if you are up there in years or suffered an injury, have a disability, things of that nature. I would have no problem recommending this product. I think for the price point, it is really excellent. So I hope this video was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions and leave them in the comments. Also, if you're not already a subscriber, I hope you'll hit that follow button and look me up on all the major social platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. As always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.